Oh, hey. Welcome to Night City Chronicles Philosophy, where we cover the general philosophy of Cyberpunk in both its games and beyond. And what better way to start than the question that can plague many new players and GMs alike. Which edition of Cyberpunk should I run? Now, there are two major editions that people could run right now. That is Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red. Or at least these are the most popular. Cyberpunk 2020 came out in the 80s and ran all the way through the 90s. While Cyberpunk Red, the newest edition, came out in 2020 and is still running now. So there's a lot of pros and cons to both editions of the game. I'm going to break them down into 3 different categories and allow you to make up your mind on which game is right for you. I do have my own biased opinion, and I will be speaking it when I go through these categories, but in no way does this mean the game isn't right for you. It's my humble opinion right now that Cyberpunk is for everyone. Anybody could play it, and honestly, Red and 2020 are just 2 flavors of the same great game. So, the first thing we're going to break down is the basic rules. Now, in a lot of ways, Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red are rather similar when it comes to rolls. I mean the dice rolls, not the rolls which are your careers, and we'll get into that in a second. But the stats are basically the same, except for a few exceptions. And then, of course, the skill list is, again, relatively the same. The one thing that changes up is how roles work. The other one. You see, in Cyberpunk, when you pick a role, in Cyberpunk 2020, the roles were a little more fluid. Characters could have different skills even if it didn't fit what their role was. Versus Red now has role abilities that kind of segregate the roles a little more like D&D classes, where things like techies being able to fabricate and make things is solely only for techies now, while medtechs are the only ones who can do things like surgery or making drugs. Versus in 2020, anyone could make drugs, no surgery, or do these things as long as they had the skill for it. Now, I like this and I don't like this. Meaning, I like the 2021 because it allows my players to express their character a little more. But I also understand the reason why Red did this. It could help with getting parties into certain roles and make them feel special in the game. So, as you can see, there are pros and cons to both. Both rule sets are perfectly fine and are lethal as hell. So, you still get that cyberpunk feel. So, when it comes down to the basic rules, I would say if you're somebody who's wanting a more in and out experience, easily being able to make a character and come in and understand the rules rather quickly, pick Cyberpunk Red. If you're a veteran of tabletop role-playing, like you played Pathfinder 1E or D&D 3.5 and you're used to the minutiae and you love getting into the nitty-gritty, hell, play Cyberpunk 2020. The rule sets are there for you. The next thing we're going to break down is, of course, the setting and flavor. Now, the setting is just where the game is happening and what it facilitates in the flavor of the game, or the feel of the game. So, in 2020 and Red are actually paralleling each other around one event, which is called the Fourth Corporate War. This was a massive war where 2 companies, Sinnoh and Otech, hired on 2 bigger companies, Arasaka and Militech, to fight each other. Everybody joined in on the fight, the world got rocked, and then, of course, Time of Red happens. So before the big rocking of the world, that's 2020. After, Time of Red. Simple as that. So, with 2020, this is something where the Night City that you know is bright, neon, corporations are running everything, everybody's buying cybernetics, you can go to the mall, you can go to a grocery store, you can go to any place in the city, and there's something there for you. There's still strife and struggle and gang wars and all that jazz, but it's seen as almost a golden age of Night City where anything's possible. You can just go out and buy shit. It's 80s hyper-capitalism seen through in its entirety, really. Think of movies like Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop, or even Total Recall, to get a good feel about this, or even Blade Runner or The Matrix. Cyberpunk Red, on the other hand, is after the Fourth Corporate War. Night City has been nuked. So there's actually radiation pockets in the city, resources are now scarce, and corporations are actually finding themselves on the back foot as governments try to regain control after a corporate war that damn near killed everybody. So Cyberpunk Red is a little more post-apocalyptic. Think a little more Mad Max than Blade Runner. So the feel of Red is very much like a modern Amazon Prime TV show, like Fallout or The Boys, where it's a little more gritty and dirty and things are a lot more hopeless and things are harder to get your hands on. Now, you would probably say, oh, so is Red more violent? Well, if you took The Boys and its violence and then put it alongside of RoboCop and its violence, you would realize that both are rather violent and bloody affairs. RoboCop shot a guy's dick off, guys. I mean, you can't forget that. Anywho, these are just the flavors and feels of the game. Now, I am going to have to come in with my opinion, so opinion here if you need it. But for me, in this bracket, I like 2020's feel and setting better. I just like that classic 80s feel. I love the idea of having Night City be this big, bustling city where you don't have to, avoid the radiation areas and things like that. You can just go to the mall and buy stuff. There are black markets everywhere and really fun stuff. Now, if you really want to play with Red setting, you can always actually play it with your players building up the city again, reconfiguring the dynamics and how the city works itself, and make that an entire story. And that is absolutely awesome, and I would never, ever say that was a bad idea. However, for me, I just want to give this one to 2020 because, honestly speaking, it's just my preference. Now, the last category, certainly not the least, is the books. Now, the books are something that I love a lot, and you would probably say, well, isn't that not very fair? Cyberpunk Red is new, it doesn't have all its books out yet, but I think I might surprise you. In fact, I actually really like Cyberpunk Red's core book over Cyberpunk 2020's. Rules aside, the book is just better actually formatted. The original 2020 book doesn't have like a table of contents or an index or appendices. Cyberpunk Red's core rule book totally has those things. So objectively, that's just better. I can actually reference things and read them. However, I love the art of Cyberpunk Red. It looks so good, and I love the modern feel of it. I really do love the vibe that the book gives you as you read it. So do I love this in Cyberpunk 2020. The only thing that gives it over an edge is just really the formatting of the book. Now, other 2020 books, like The Forlorn Hope, the Chrome books, and everything like that, I love those books. So those are actually going to be really high up on my list as well. And that's where Red coming in with new books will actually, well, time will tell if I'm actually going to like it. But thus far, they've actually been hitting it pretty well out of the park. Not to mention that Cyberpunk Red has, well, DLCs every month, meaning you get to have free new content for Cyberpunk Red at any given time. So, that's a lot to put Red in, well, the red. If you get the, stop. Anyway, Red really takes the cake when it comes to some of the books. And honestly, I don't see them getting any worse anytime soon, only getting better. So, for me, Red has kind of the better books. As for getting any of these books, that's the best part. All of them are very accessible because you can get them in PDF or in physical copies on the website of our Talsorian. You can just order it and get all the books. That's what I do. And so, access to these books is not that hard. Now, in conclusion to all of this, you're probably wondering, alright, Devin, we heard the pros and cons of both Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2020, but which one do you prefer? Well, I got a little secret there. I run both. And I don't mean that I run a game of 2020 and then I run a game of Red. I mean, I mix and match Cyberpunk Red and 2020's rule sets entirely. I've been playing this game since I was like 15, and since I've been running the game that long, there have always been house rules and homebrew that I've been doing over the years. And then once Red came out, I just started mixing and matching what I liked and what I didn't like. Like, I will always run Cyberpunk 2020 games with the net running rules from Red. Or I will be using 2020 combat, but with the rules from Cyberpunk Red, assuming center of mass, that kind of thing. But your ammo count is gonna be a high ammo count and a high rate of fire. So, things will get deadly. Also, like, I really love that we simplified net running, but I put back in things like creating your own programs, creating your own virtual worlds, creating and customizing your own cyber decks. I use the resource skill ability from Cyberpunk Red for executives, but I also use the stock market ability from 2020. I just mix and match what I think would make my game the most fun. And right now, 2020 is my base because I started with it. And it's my preferred system, but I'm not too dumb or proud to admit that, I use plenty of Red rules and plenty of Red systems. I like it. I use the Red minis. I have the Netrunner cyber deck. I have all the stuff from Red too. I blend both games together because I'm a dirty homebrewer, but it's what makes my games fun and it's what allows my players to have the most fun. If you guys want to know which one is your preferred game style, again, I recommend that you just read the books, watch videos like these to help narrow it down and play test it with your friends and see which ones you really like. Maybe you like the hyper-realistic violence of Cyberpunk 2020. Or maybe you're more casual and you want to go with the simplified versions of Red. It's all up to you. And if you want to mix and match the systems, hey, I do it. Why not you? So I hope this video helped out with narrowing down your choice, giving a little more thought to how these games run and which one would suit your playstyle the best. And I hope you guys play more games, run more games, and have a great day. Peace.